Hello and welcome, everyone. This is another episode of Marcela Mores podcast. Here we're trying to interview several artists, musicians, people from different backgrounds, and people in the business industry as well as scientists to aim and explore the creativity process in all of these areas. I hope everybody's staying safe at home. We're here in the east coast of Canada in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and I wanted to thank everybody for the all Nova Scotians for the hard work that we all have been doing in containing the pandemic, and everybody that has been taking their vaccine. I just got mine last Monday. Feel a little minor symptoms of like what they say, but nothing major. It's pretty safe. It was actually quite interesting doing the research on how this acts to activate the immune system as if it were you were being attacked by the virus, but there's no virus in the vaccine. It's just a little piece of the it's a segment of the RNA. So they say that it activates the production of the protein that will activate the immune system, and that will get us immunized. We're looking forward to having a very safe summer. Businesses are going to be reopening as well as the live music. And in today's episode, I have a really good friend joining us. I'm very happy about that. And we're talking about Shuvanjan Karmaker. He's a multidisciplinary Bengali-Canadian artist. He's currently rooted in Kejiputuk, Mi'kmaq. That's the word in Mi'kmaq language for Halifax. It's it's described as the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. Shuvanjan is the digital marketing coordinator at Nimbus Publishing. He's the founder and bass players of Superfluid Collective, an amazing local band everybody must check out. He's the president of HolyDynamite Productions, board member of SuddenlyListen, and now newly appointed board member of Everyseeker. In past, Shuvanjan has worked in collaboration with Nova Scotia Communities of Culture and Heritage, Nova Scotia Government Lab, Music Nova Scotia, the Deanery Project, Ecology Action Centre, Apathy is Boring, Halifax Music Co-op, Rose Creek Centre of Arts, and an array of music and arts organizations and festivals in the Maritimes. The common threads that bind all of the work are community, environmental conservation, reconciliation, and access to information and education. Please, everyone, welcome Shuvanjan. How you doing, my man?
I'm good. Thanks for the intro.
Thank you. Yeah, no, you put it really good, and thank you for the coaching prior to. As I was explaining to you, I've been here only a decade, and I've been learning a lot about the Mi'kmaq community, that they are very present here, and there's a lot the education that is required for everybody to reach the level of consciousness to fully understand the history of Canada, to fully understand the history of our native Aboriginal people is extremely important. So thank you for doing that, and actually you're learning the language, so that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, very very slowly, but yeah, I'm slowly learning. I think me and you both came around here at the same time. If it's been a decade,
Yeah,
so
man.
I've been here since 2009, 10. Yeah, around there. So it's the same for you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it started coming here since 2008. But I didn't move around 2011. So yeah, no, that's amazing. And so you probably have a couple of a few languages under your belt, right? Because you obviously English language, and what's your native language?
Bangla.
Bangla, yeah. And is there do you have several like languages in your home country?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of indigenous languages. And there's Bangla is like the kind of overarching language that everyone speaks. But there's over like 40 languages altogether, and they're
That's
all
so
really different.
impressive, man.
Yeah, but they all share slightly different dialects and stuff. You know, like the more you can see certain patterns as you travel along, and there's definitely like we have six divisions, kind of like how you have provinces here. So
Mhm.
there's 64 districts out of the in the six divisions. So like within the districts itself, you can see like different languages, how they kind of like interact and how they're similar. But then when you go from one division to the other one, that's where you see a little much bigger difference in the languages and stuff. But yeah, Bangla is like the overarching language. So that's basically the language that I speak pretty well. My ancestral language, there's not much of records there, so like I don't really speak the very old language. But I do understand and speak Hindi pretty well,
Oh wow.
thanks to Bollywood, and thanks to a lot of like really good Indian friends as well that I've had all throughout life. Besides that, I do understand Urdu pretty well. I'm not the most fluent at Urdu, but I love the language. It's very I don't know. It's just something very poetic about that language. It's and poetry and share, which is like short poems and stuff, and shairi, like it's like or ghazals, and it's like the music version of all of that. Yeah, they're just beautiful, and like the lyrics, it's just so deep. They're always really short and like Sufi poems, man. Like anything if Rumi, like all that jazz,
Yeah.
and like it's beautiful poetry. So yeah.
That's so amazing, man. Because I think that talks a lot about you and your diversity, right? I mean, the more things we are exposed to growing up, and in general, the more things we may be interested, and the more things we may be able to notice when other people that may have not had the same exposure may not. You may see, I don't know, like for just to do a metaphor thing, you may see an in between color that nobody notices because you have been exposed to so much, right? So that's good, and I think that can relate to what we were talking earlier before the show, to your interest in learning the Mi'kmaq, the Mi'kmaq language, because from your background you have been exposed to all this arsenal of languages and different cultures. So I think that's amazing.
Thanks, man. Thank you. Thank you. You
Kudos.
know, thank you. Yeah, I'm sure. Like it's in a similar way. Like you're from Cuba, and like Cuba has so many languages, and Cuba has so many different cultures within Cuba too, right? And
Yeah.
like and I'm pretty sure like do you speak other language besides Spanish and English?
Well, yeah, predominantly in Cuba, Spanish is the official language because it has been the longest colony. It was the
Yeah.
longest colony, but because of the African influence, the Africans that were brought as slaves, they do speak different languages there. It has been very it has been preserved through religion rituals, but they have the Yoruba language is one that is very predominant, that comes from West Africa, from Nigeria, and I think they have other like they speak in other within the niche of some of the Afro-Cuban religions, the Congo religion. Uh, so religions that come from Congo and other parts of Africa,
Yeah.
when they exercise their rituals and their music and their culture, they speak their own language. So I think in that sense, it talks about a variety of diversity of languages. Besides to answer your question, besides Spanish and English, I learned a little bit of French. It's not I'm not fluent yet, but I also learned Galician, which is it's a minority language spoken in northern Spain, and I learned that like at university when I was in my freshman years, as I was also very engaged in the northern Spain music, playing the Galician bagpipes and their traditional music, and it's a language that is connected historically with Portuguese, therefore I was able to divert in and speak Portuguese today because it's very it's not a dialect. They're different languages, but they're easier. They're closer together to make the enough connections, and with a little bit of practice, I learned Portuguese as well, which is it's really interesting, and I yeah I that it, everything you can feed your brain with, man, just do it, because just do it.
Exactly, man. See, that's brilliant. And then in a similar way as Portuguese and Spanish, they're both like sort of Latin languages. Same with like Bangla, Hindi, and Urdu. Like kind of like they're a mix of Sanskrit and Farsi. And you can see the different, like the balances. Where the other one's a little more influential than the other one, and and that's how, like, it's very interesting to like figure out the similarities in all of these three languages, because it's kind of like a one step to the left from the other one.
Nice. No, that's great, man. Love languages. We hope to. I hope to continue to learn more. Anyway, tell us a little bit more about yourself and your work.
About myself and about my work. Well,
we know already that that you come from Bangladesh, and whatever you want to share with us, specifically your work, whatever you want to.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, like I work as a digital marketing coordinator at Nimbus, which keeps me pretty busy throughout my weekdays. And they're a wonderful group of humans to work with. Working with books has always been a thing that I've always wanted. And it was just like, it's just like a kind of like romantic idea, but then being able to do it, it's really cool. So yeah, I love working with books. We're working on our spring releases right now. We're also working on the fall releases that's coming up. So it's a pretty busy few weeks. After the next 2 weeks, I get some time to settle. So that would be cool. Besides my work with Nimbus, I work as a bass player and kind of like the organizer, the paper dude, I don't know, the person who kind of like calls everyone, be like, hey, like, we got a show, we do you want to come for this rehearsal? That guy, I'm that guy for Superfluid Collective.
It's a tough, it's a busy, crazy at times position. I had Laura in the podcast like a few weeks ago, like
Oh, that's
last month or
amazing.
so. She's she was it was fun to talk to her.
Yeah.
Of course she appraised you as usual. Yeah,
Oh, that's amazing.
we
I'm gonna
mentioned
watch
it.
that episode after this. Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't know. That's wonderful. Yeah, she's brilliant to work with. Like, I think she just also came up released her album, right? And or she's releasing the
Nice.
singles right now, one by one. I got to hear some of it, and it's such, it's great music, and it's super good to work with her. And like, she's in that band along with a bunch of really cool folks. A lot of them, Seth Volier plays guitar in that. Paige Bailey plays keys. Yeah, they're both wonderful. They've been friends, I think, since high school or even before. So it's really awesome having them, in the band too, because there's that, the deep connection that they have as friends, and the camaraderie that comes along when we're all hanging out and stuff. It's pretty sweet. And I think Sirkin, or you've also like maybe
Yes.
played with Sirkin around the city, maybe. But yeah, like he's just a good drummer, man. That's all. Like, it's just like a really really awesome dude. And so it's been pretty cool, man. Yeah, that's the band, the core band right now. We've had Lawrence Willoughby. He's from England. He was living in Scotland right before moving here, which was last year. But he's been playing with us for the past little while. He played throughout our garden food bar residency that happened in November. But yeah, that's the band. It was pretty sweet. Besides that, what else do I do? I work as a videographer and an editor. It's been kind of like on the back burner for a second, because other things kind of like took precedence, and music was pretty busy.
Nice.
But yeah, like, I'm kind of working on that. I'm working on a project where I can, because I'm in the middle of like changing some of the, like, I guess the way I work, because I worked a lot around the music industry when it came to my video production, and I also worked with different organizations that were kind of like conservation around like forestry, and working with like civil societies, and kind of I kind of want to do that work a little bit more.
Nice.
So for my video production work, I'm gonna like in the process of reaching out to organizations and kind of working, like offering my work at a sort of like a discounted rate for certain folks and certain organizations. Maybe do some pro bono work, but that's
Uh-huh.
basically kind of like where I'm at right now. But yeah, I'm just trying to figure out like where
No,
that
no,
is.
yeah, you're
That,
busy. You're busy. Yeah. So when you mentioned you work, you're active in the environmental conservation. Is that relates part of your work with the Ecology Action Centre here in Halifax?
yeah. I've worked for a couple of contracts with them, with the Ecology Action Centre, and it was around the East Coast forestry conservation. They and the Canada Conservation Network. I think that's what they're
Yeah.
called.
What
It
kind of
was
work you do with them?
it was just filming and documentation. Like
Ah,
I
okay.
I'd just go to a place with a camera and like film. So
And
there
do the
was.
editing work and create a product for them.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, like so, like the work that I did with them was also in collaboration with the Deanery Project, which is in economy. And they're
Mhm.
like a great knowledge based organization. They work around like permaculture and like natural building.
Nice.
So one of the projects was building short film around what the Deanery is and what they're offering. Kind of make it more accessible as well. So we developed a few films all together, kind of short videos. It's on Vimeo and YouTube and stuff if you want to go and check it out. But that was like 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah, besides that, I worked with Youth Art Connection as well on like some film projects a while back, which was pretty interesting. It was on the creative industry, which me and you, we all are a part of, as artists or arts workers. Yeah, that was also a really cool project. It was kind of talking about creative industry and how we played a part in like the more macroeconomic industry, which is like all of Canadian industry, and like the impact that's making in the economy versus like the how the seats and the chairs that are represented by artists and arts workers in
Mhm.
legislation and policy making and all that stuff. It was a really cool project to be a part of,
That's
and I was just documenting a lot of stuff, and that's all.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's a lot. There's a lot to a lot of work still yet to be done there, right? For the arts to be more valued, right?
yeah, exactly, man. Yeah, like
And
we need.
musicians to be.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
almost like well, because we do it because we love, but the effect of the end product after all the work that is behind is to give to people, and that is not just like a product of a music or an album. Is the sentiment and all the emotional and also physiological effects that music can can reach the people, and how that can positively impact us, right? It's Music is for the well-being. It's not only a commercial product. And I know, knowing you and the music that you make, I know you're one of the uh, promoters of that style of well-being, music for the well-being.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah,
and
yeah.
and
Music's.
especially Mhm.
No, please go on. Yeah.
No, I said, especially in these times that people have been missing music or live music more than ever, right? With all the um, lockdowns and all this self isolation, and hopefully, I mean, not that this had to happen, but hopefully, this will continue to lead into people appreciating more the work of the artists, and the importance of that, right? Because what I mean, it's inconceivable to see a human society without music. I mean, especially because it's creative work, and that links to other. I mean, you're digital media guy. You do video editing, but I know lots of people that they're scientists, they're biologists, they're engineers. They're also heavily into music, and they're really good musicians and active musicians. And so the way creativity connects with all of that is just you know it's undeniable. You can't. There's a lot of academic papers are there and promotion articles there, but it's undeniable, and I think that's one of the objective I hope in my podcast to promote that connection, right? The creativity within the musicians, the music, but how that relates to lighting the brain and anyway, I'm just getting too excited about this.
Yeah, no, man. Like, music is great, and like, music therapy is one of my favorite things to, like, talk about or understand. It's a huge thing. Like, how music affects our memories and how much we can remember and how much we can relate to, understand
Yeah.
things, understand emotional things that we may have not connected to before, right? It's an insane,
Yeah.
an incredible thing. Like, we all, funny enough, like, it's one of my favorite pieces of facts to, like, tell people. So we keep a beat, right? Keeping a beat is rhythm, it's ingrained in music, except for unless you talk to improvisers. A lot of improvisers will say, like, there's no, I don't care about rhythm, but there's rhythm in almost everything. Even the arrhythmic thing, there is a rhythm, right there. There's a rhythm of raindrops.
Mhm. Yeah.
Everything is there's a pattern. But just going fundamentally in beat wise, like, when we are keeping time and we are tapping our feet, or tapping our, or clapping our hands together, it's the part of the brain that's responsible for keeping time. It's like the very back, which is, like, called the reptilian part of our brain. But, like, the reason it's given that name is because almost all organisms, from reptiles to mammals, we all have that. So,
Yeah.
like, when it comes to understanding that brain, it's yeah, like, if everyone understands some sort of form of music, or, like, thing. So yeah, it's a good thing to obsess about.
It's a great connection that right there, because I the first guest I had in the podcast was actually a music therapist based here in Halifax, and yeah, she did an amazing descriptive work um, job at like telling her about what she does, a little bit about the clarifying the concept of music therapy. And one of the reasons I wanted to start with her, once I proposed for her to be on the podcast, is because I'm currently conducting a little a research about music interventions in health,
Hmm.
and with the prof at Dow. Um, and it's just been wonderful. I just a friend that finished also the music therapy program at Acadia University, which, by the way, is a very good program. He just lent me a bunch of books from the program for me to study and get more in depth. But yeah, it's absolutely, and funny that you say that. I've been listening recently to a newer podcast by a neuroscientist in the United States. It's called the Huberman Lab, and he does talk a lot about the different parts of the brain and how we learn, and a little bit of how to use music, um, and different techniques to train ourselves and perform a little better. So yeah, we're talking about, yeah, more than the history of humanity is the importance and the science and weight of music in our lives. I have a question for you, uh, just from your perspective. Why bass? Why do you choose the bass?
Why did I choose the bass?
Yeah, I know you play guitar too, but yeah, why is bass your main instrument? It's just an open question to pick your
Oh,
to pick your brain.
it's just funny. It's like, it's funny how, like, a lot of, I've never seen as bass as my main instrument, but it somehow did become as my main instrument. At least people know as. I picked up the bass first, I think, when I was like 19 years old, but I used to play in a lot of metal bands and a lot of like rock
Nice.
bands, a lot of punk bands. That's how
Is
I
that
grew up.
okay?
Yeah,
Wow,
like
nice.
that was my introduction. Yeah, like when I was in 10th grade, that's when I started playing live, and then kept on playing till I went into university. Like as long as I was back home. When I moved here, I moved for university, so I didn't really get to play much. But anyway, so like when I was playing back home, there was this metal band who I really loved. They were all friends of mine. Their bass player, who's Fahad, like he left for school. Like he left in 11th, like or middle of 10th grade or something like that, or somewhere between 10th and 11th. And he went, yeah, he just went for his higher studies, and they needed a bass player, and they're like, "Hey, like Fad left, but his bass is still here. A really beautiful like Warwick bass. So imagine being 16 years old and like a friend of mine here tells you, just like, hey, like this is beautiful bass. Do you want to learn a bunch of metal songs on bass and like play with us?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" So I played with them for a good like 6 months, year. I don't know. We played a bunch of shows, and then kept on playing bass as I kind of like loved for a little while. But when I started playing music here, and I wanted to make a band which is Superfluid now, it was kind of like a tactical decision. It wasn't like it wasn't a thing like oh yeah, I really want to play a bass. I'm gonna go play the bass. It was more like, oh yeah, like I want to play this music, and bass, a compositional tool and control. Like it's a big sound. Like it's somewhere between rhythm and harmony, right? So like if I wanted to control a tone of a band like that, that I want to do like showcase and all that stuff, and it's like, yeah, like bass seems to be like a good instrument, and it's also something that is just fun to play. Like I've the more I've played it, the more I've like fallen in love with it, because it's a lot of fun. But yeah, like I think it was more like a decision of like, oh, I have this project and it needs a bass player. I didn't know too many bass players at that point, or not bass players that I would be interested in playing the music that I was thinking in my head at that point. Um, yeah, I don't know. It just happened, and then kept on playing bass. Just kept on loving it. I haven't really played the bass for that long, to be honest.
Really? Oh wow.
Like, I mean, yeah, like because throughout university, I didn't really play. I played guitar. We had a band with some folks at school. Like we weren't really serious. Like university was hard, man. Like I didn't get much extra time. Like it was hard. Like
Yeah.
um, and I
And
and
then
I was
if you want to drink and party in the weekends, then it's harder to wake up on Monday.
exactly, yeah, and like and music was more like a thing that I did for fun. At that point, because I before that was a lot more serious, like which is really funny, because before university, we were playing show, like I was playing multiple shows every weekend, played on the radio, like we've done like a lot of like really good gigs and stuff. It was great. But yeah, the university was just like a little big break, and then when I after coming back, I started playing guitar everywhere. I'd show up with my acoustic guitar, and it's like just play by myself or anyone present. So I did that for a while. Played with Pinion Lobe in that band. Played guitar for them for about a year. We toured around. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, like after all of that, having those experiences, I was like, I really wanted to make a band like Superfluid, and that have that sound where genre and all of these things are just kind of like good suggestions, and you can take from everything. So yeah, it just happened, man. I don't know, like yeah, and I stuck with it because it's a lot of fun, and I think I can play bass now.
Oh yeah.
I've
Oh
been
yeah. No, can confirm. Yeah. 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 No, yeah. No, it's good, man. No, and you seem to have like the right energy too, because you're always expressing. I think it's hard to put it into words, but we express our mood through the instrument as well. If you're happy and energetic, we're playing. Well, I mean, hitting the right notes and stuff, and the right progression, of course, because the technical part is important too. But you kind of express that through the instrument, and it's contagious, right?
Mhm.
So we had the audience there like feeding from us. You also produce your own music too, right?
Yeah. I produce my own stuff. Like, I mean, when it comes to production, I don't. It's not like home production or like my studio production. I love like producing and writing music, and I work with different engineers to like you know make
Nice.
make that happen. I'm more like a producer of like songs or album or like or a video or like production like in that way.
Production slash designer almost, yeah.
Yeah, like designer comes along. It's just like it's part of like digital marketing, and it's just, and it's like
That's
in
good.
this day and age, everyone's a designer, like even if you don't know how to use InDesign, you still have Canva.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty cool. No, I was browsing about you in the net, and I found this really cool project. I think I mean, it's you. It's called the binaural astronaut on
Oh,
SoundCloud.
oh my God, yeah, that was a while
Is
ago.
is that all? Yeah.
Yeah,
Why do
that's
you find that?
that's.
Why do you find that name? That I found that really interesting. Here, I have it here. I can share it.
Oh, I
I
can't
can't
believe you
believe you
found
found
that.
that.
That's
Yeah, man. I was just browsing around and I said the binaural like astronaut, and I said, oh, that's pretty cool. I guess it's got to do a little bit. Here's something. It's very relaxing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this was
this
for
is
a
for a
documentary.
documentary. Oh,
Like
is that right?
a lot
A
of the
lot of the
songs
songs
here,
here.
very ambienty, and it was like background music for a documentary. That documentary was actually a little sad. It was on garment workers and in Bangladesh, and the kind of like some tragedies that happened. But yeah, like I can't believe you found that.
Oh yeah, I have to be honest. I didn't have a lot of time to do a lot of research about you, but a little bit. I knew I guess it was a little easier because I know you already, right? But yeah, I did a little bit and I found this. Oh, this is interesting. Why the binaural astronaut?
Binaural astronaut. Oh, this was
It's a fun name, but yeah, I just wanted to
th-
know what's
this.
up.
Yeah, this is during last year of school. I still had like a 1.5 year of school left to go. Um, so I think I remember I got my M audio like a really shitty uh,
Interface.
interface. Yeah, and then it was so long back, man. Like, so I remember I started recording and I kind of wanted to get back into music, and that's when I was listening to a lot of like really ambient Sigur Rossi stuff, and I just kind of wanted to get like work with tone to know how to like get that good sound. Like so, what is how like one of the main thing was how do people get good sound when they're recording, right? That's a big thing. Like, what is proper recording? Like that was a big question for me. It's like, like I've played music before. It was only performance. Like before that, like I've I've
Yeah.
I've played with a bunch of bands where we recorded, but we just show up at the studio, we'd play, we'd get out, and the engineers did everything else. So when I did that, it's just like, well, I wanted to figure out how to make good sound with whatever less tools I had. So like it was all like mostly either amp mic'd with like a Sennheiser mic, which was $80, or it was like a straight plug-in into my M audio, which is like a $50 interface. So I was trying to make
Yeah.
as
You're one of
as
mine. I do the same.
yeah, and like just yeah, it was kind of like getting back into music. It was that project basically was me coming back as a musician, or inviting music back to my life, so to speak. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, it paid off. Definitely music. It has a big influence in you and in your life. I mean, I don't know what do you think? What do you think correct impacts you more? Is that you seek music, or kind of music influence you and make you better? How do you think music had that your relationship with music? What do you think is? Yeah, it's a two-way street. You went out for her, or kind of music found you and kind of made you better, made you more active, more like hyper.
Oh man, that's yeah, that's very interesting. I was actually listening to Robert Glasper and Tumani Diawara talk about that, like, like what is, like, when music finds you, like, the difference between when a music finds you or when you go searching for music. And
Yeah.
it's really interesting to ask. And like, I I think music was always just around me. Like, my mom's a classical singer, so like she's a Bengali classical singer, and she'd always sing like all throughout the day.
Wow.
Like, I mean, not like she's not like literally singing every second, but she sang a lot. So, and I'd also go to her rehearsals. So like Bengali classical music, especially Robindra Sangeet, like, the choir section is insane. There's like 30 people singing together, and like, there's three or four harmoniums going, and then you have like tabla players and all that stuff. So like, that was
Wow.
her regular weekly rehearsal that I would go to every Friday. So every Friday afternoon, that's where I'd be spending time with my mom, because that's what you do on. And Friday is basically our Saturday, or Sunday. Yeah, Fridays are like our Sunday. Saturdays is our Saturday, and then Sunday would go back to work. But yeah, like, it was always just there. So I rooted from there. And then when I grew older, like, I used to draw a lot. Like, I'd sketch a lot. I went to like school for that when I was a kid too, like, after school programs and all that stuff. But I think when around eighth grade, I started listening to a lot of punk rock, somewhere between grade 5 and 6. And around eighth grade or seventh grade, I found Rage Against the Machine in my life.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I was there too.
Yeah, man, like that Rage Against the Machine and Led Zeppelin, like those two records. Led Zeppelin, I had this tutor. He gave me a Led Zeppelin, like the remastered,
Mhm.
like I think the remastered 1 and 2. So yeah, those were this, like, compilation of Led Zeppelin songs remastered, and like, and yeah, in 2 CDs. So like, when I found that music, I was just like, wow, like, guitar is really freaking cool. Like, I really wanna learn guitar. So like, my guitar introduction to guitar was very like rock and roll, I guess. Before that, I played the harmonium. And that was like my, like, that's how I knew like music theory, like Eastern side. Like, but then I've started learning, I guess, guitar at that point. And then yeah, just like the rest is like this history. Like, yeah, like,
Beautiful. When you go to no, thank you, sorry. Did I cut you off? Sorry.
no, 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 it's, yeah.
When you go, I just find this really interesting. I'm talking about transferable skills. I wanted to ask you the question: if you ever think that the knowledge that you have, because of the time and energy and love you have put into music, do you see or do you ever think that music may relate to what you do in other things? In other words, do you think that let's say when a melody comes to your head and you write it down and you keep practicing and then you become more creative in music, do you think that's something that influences your work also as a digital marketing guy, as a video editing? Do you think that there's somehow, I mean, we don't have to talk about the brain stuff that we don't have the knowledge maybe, but do you think that somehow that may connect? The fact that you create music, or this is a nice riff, maybe I can come up with this harmony on the bass, or whatever part of music that you're doing. Do you think that let's say framework of creativity, something similar will kind of light the bulb, and when you're doing the editing work in the video, I don't know, you're also doing photography, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So how do you, I mean, in your words, I mean, if you have thought about that or not, how do you think you can put all that together?
Oh, that's a great question, and I think they're all connected, man. It's all connected in that way. Like, it's um, music is a very visual thing for me. Like, when I think of beats, I can see them. When I think of like
In shapes?
in
Do you see
shapes,
shapes?
yeah, like, I mean, I can visualize, like, if there's like supposed to be like four beats in a bar, I can see
Mhm.
those four beats. If any of
How
them
do you
has to
see
be,
them?
I see them
It's
as lines. I see them as
okay.
circles, like depending on like how but mostly usually I visualize them as like lines in front of me. And then if certain things have to be accented, I see them a little longer than the other lines. And if that, like the velocity, like all that, like
Nice.
so like I'm a very visual thinker. Like even when it comes to like writing a phrase or writing a chord progression, I kind of like it comes along from a place of like what color could it be connected to, like is this
Oh, sweet.
does it make me feel pink, does it make me feel blue, does it make me feel maroon, what is that like, or even a lot of the pieces that I wrote, or even a lot of the things that comes along, like I find myself either like when I'm walking on the street somewhere, or like I'm on a hike somewhere. So like I definitely take a lot of inspiration from nature and like natural things. And I find that same thing like when I'm trying to design something, like I have to like making music, there's a structure around it, like, or if you want there to be a structure, like if it's not improvised, if it is structural music, there is a way of approaching it, like the way it evolves. And the same way design evolves as well, like you gotta lay your groundwork, which is if there's a rhythm, if there's key, a key signature, you lay those down. All right, so like after that, you that means that's your frame in whatever design or poster you're making. And then you have your main subject, whatever the center thing is, like the one that's going to take all of your attention. So that's basically the melody or the chord, or or the chords, like, or whatever you want in that song to
Mhm.
be emphasized. It's the same way, like whenever I'm thinking of doing one thing, kind of like sharpens the other one.
Mhm.
And I believe that pretty well, like I I believe like really really diving deep into one thing, like art wise, like it really also helps you understand like what it takes to know the other one.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
No, this is really cool because there's actually a lot of tons of really passionate about this, but there's tons of research is being done about that, and that's where well, music therapy is now like a regulated. It's been for a little bit regulated profession, and there it's being adopted more in the Western healthcare system. So that and there's one part of that that is doing that works the one is the therapy directly with the patients, but another one works a little bit with the neuroscience part of it. So I found that really interesting. Um, when you do, I wanted to just link what you just what we were just talking about with when you do a video production. How do you match the music with what's going to happen? I mean, do you have a say in the scenes, or somebody else is doing? Okay, we're going to do this shoot now. Do you control whatever is being or part of what is being put in the video?
It depends on the job, really. Like,
Yeah.
there's some job where they're like, hey, like, shoot, like, figure all of those things out. And there's some job, like, you show up, it's like, hey, like, no, you just be the video camera, or
Mhm.
like, you just be the videographer today. And
Yeah.
like, that's all you need to do. And all of
Okay.
those things are good. But when it comes to like really approaching
Musicalizing
a
the
whole,
video. Yeah.
yeah, like when it comes to approaching the whole production,
Yeah.
um, that's it's one understanding that where is like what is the music, right? Like if I'm filming for it, like what is, am I making a music video, or am I making a live thing, or am I
Yeah.
making like a sort of like behind the scenes kind of like, oh, like, hey, here's the band, and like, and all of this, right? But it's all about rhythm, like it's all about rhythm. It's like following the rhythm of the song. When you are editing the video, you have to follow the song. If you don't, you're just gonna fight the force. Why would you
Mhm.
fight the force? Like, it
Mhm.
just gets all better. Like if someone's,
Unless it's jazz music, right?
yeah, but that's the thing with jazz too. Like,
I'm
you
just
still have to
kidding. I'm
like,
just kidding.
yeah, like, yeah, like, unless you go like just like it's free music, like then it's like a whole different thing altogether. That's also visual art. There's a lot of like free visual art too, right? But yeah, like it's all about following that rhythm. Like, and I find it's just like working with it. Whenever I'm editing videos, I think one of the main thing that I want to, it's like I try to think of it as electronic music.
Mhm.
because it's very gridded like electronic music too. Like especially if digital. If you're a digital videographer and you're doing digital production, it's you're working with Final Cut Pro or Adobe Premiere mostly if you're making professional stuff, and within those things, like you'd see like all of those bars are just like electronic music, like when you're using loops and stuff, or when you're making loops for electronic music, and you make sections out of them, it looks exactly the same. Like there's just like a little bit difference,
Mhm.
but then approaching that idea like that a loop can sound good, a loop can look good, right? So like that's where
Nice.
little tricks comes in. So like I've done this so many times, like matching drummers with parts that they didn't play at that point,
Hmm.
and making that look like that is part exactly that was supposed to be there, or
Mhm.
someone singing a part and that's not really the part that they were kind of singing at that point, because we were making compilation videos, right? So like that's not for live stuff you want to keep it as
Yeah.
true as it is,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's the thing.
Yeah.
But
It's documented the concert or what's
yeah,
happening.
like
Yeah.
but when you're making like music videos, or when you're making you know like electronic press kit videos of like introduction to a band and stuff, or doing TV shows things, there's a lot of like dubbing and layering and all that stuff. So like like working around that, it's really fun. It's yeah, I'd always try to approach it where there's a rhythm that everything follows. Every storytelling is also a rhythm. Like there's a rhythm to writing a book. There's a rhythm to writing a story. There's a rhythm to like telling a story, right? So
Mhm.
it's just being able to find that rhythm and going along with it, because sometimes some transitions are too long and you shouldn't have too long of a transition from one scene to the other, when sometimes some scenes just have to be a lot longer, and like you can't just keep on shooting 5 different angles you know at all
This is
seconds.
cool, man. This is. I'm gonna call this music data visualization 101. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Another thing I was thinking about is like when to relate, right? It's like, let's say like a classical piece where it's choreographed by, let's say, a ballerina, one of the classics. Well, the way the dancer interprets that music, right, and the
Mhm.
way that whole sets of movements and body expression, it has to go. I mean, it goes with the music. It has to match the beat, it match everything. So uh, just related that into, as a way of visualizing what a little bit of what you're saying, with the video editing. I don't know. I just had a little ballerina coming into my head, like doing that. But yeah, no, that's amazing, man. That's pretty cool. Hey, I just wanted to ask you, who's your buddy right there behind you?
Oh, this
Can
buddy
you tell us?
this
Yeah,
buddy over there. Oh
yeah.
yeah, this is Bonaventure. uh Everyone meet Bonaventure. Bonaventure, say hi. There's a little, there you go. uh,
It's a little rough these days, eh?
yeah, he's a little rough. He's a little sad, he's got the sads and the blues a little. But yeah, he's pretty in good spirits for most days. Uh, he's actually he's my partner's research buddy. She's a massage therapist, and she's just my joking buddy. When I say my joking buddy, I just tell bad jokes and he listens,
Yeah,
because
totally. I mean, no, I think that's great, right? Because it's not like you have a plan there or something. You just have the whole skeleton. That's brilliant, man. Thank you.
yeah. This is my
Yeah,
usually morning coffee time. So like come over here, sit down, have a coffee, talk to this guy, and be like,
it's perfect. It's perfect. It's brilliant. All right, man. Is there some product that you're working on, your music that you want to share here with the audience? Either you're cooking something more with the Superfluid Collective, or some of your other music projects, your solo projects. Is there something that you have on the go right now that you would like to share? So I can, yeah, so we can learn about it.
oh, definitely, definitely. Thanks for asking, man. Thanks for asking. Yeah, it's the last year's been a lot of like spinning with things and trying to produce and trying to postpone. But we're very happy to say that on July 2nd we'll be playing a show at the Derby. I think the show is already sold out because it was a postponed show from before. But that's when we'll also be releasing some of our old concert tapes. These are all some from Evolve, some from I think the Carlton here in Halifax, some recordings from the Wilson's Room in Fredericton, and yeah, some like our rehearsal recordings as well. But yeah, we'll be releasing a bunch of like sort of like superfluid bootleg tape soon.
Nice.
Beside or on July 2nd. Besides that, we are also coming up with an album, or we're working on the album right now. But that's gonna be coming out till next year. But look out for our single that's gonna be coming out, which will be unfolding. That's gonna be coming in September. Besides that, I guess there's this is a rock and roll project that's kind of like on the go with Jonathan Barkhouse and Jason Barkhouse. It's called Objet des Arts.
Sweet.
We'll be releasing an EP. The music's all done. We're just kind of like sitting on it, trying to figure out when, all the doors open and stuff. That means like, bar doors and venue doors and all that stuff. So we're just trying to figure out a good time to release. It's a brand new project. It's like fresh off the boat sort of a thing. There's no dust or anything on there yet. So yeah, kind of excited about that. That's
Very
all.
good.
Like there's not much. That's not too many released, but yeah.
Well, you've been busy, man. No, that's been amazing. Make sure you send me all these links, so I can wrap that up and then I put them in the description below. And yeah, man, thank you so much for being here with us today. It's been great to have you and great to catch up. Obviously, we haven't seen each other since I think pre-pandemic. So this is a great opportunity to connect and learn more about you, man. It's been amazing. Thank you for everything you're doing and for explaining it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It was great to talk about music therapy, and all the cool things in the world. I hope your show goes well, and have a sweet evening, man. And me and Bonaventure over here, we're gonna say bye.
Right on. No, that's brilliant. Thank you, brother. Alrighty. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. Again, that was today's episode. We had Shuvanjan with us. Lots of great conversation. Make sure you subscribe to the channel below, our YouTube channel, and please stay tuned for more upcoming episodes and more surprises. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.